Everything starts with a choice. For PPS, that choice was clear: to provide graduate professionals with support to create, protect, and accelerate their wealth. Because when graduate professionals support one another, progress multiplies. And together, those choices added up to a record-breaking 6.88 billion rand in profit share allocated to our members with qualifying life risk products for 2025.
At PPS, we know the whole adds up to more than the sum of its parts. Visit pps.co.za to see how it adds up for you. PPS, success is better shared. PPS is a licensed life insurer controlling company and authorized FSP. Profit share allocations depend on PPS's operating and investment performance.
You're listening to Mo Flava on 947.
You know, I love it when people think I know everything. It just makes me sound, smart. And one of my colleagues the other day was like, listen, I'm actually looking at buying a house. And, she spoke about different areas, etc., that she's kind of looked at, when you consider where to buy a house and how it suits your life. But then one of the things was, no, but should I just buy an existing property that's already built? Or, should I maybe just build something from scratch in one of these residential estates? And then I said, well, it depends. And as I said that, I'm like, whoa, do I want to be the guy to give advice when I'm not the expert? But it certainly does pose itself as a real question for anybody who wants to buy property. And I suppose it is a bit of an age-old question. As in, when buying a house that you say, let's say you want to live in it, right? Is it better to build one from scratch? Is that option better? Or do you just buy something that already exists? You see a house somewhere in an area, you're like, I like that. Is it for sale? Yes, it's popped up on property websites, etc. And then boom, off you go. I can tell you now that my first property was an existing one that was already built. I remember somebody many years ago saying to me, man, just buy one that's already built. Save yourself the trouble. And that's exactly what I did. But obviously, as the years go by, you look at many other things. A couple of voice notes have come in. Let me start with this one.
Good morning, Mo. This is Gareth from West Rand. Well, I think buying a house would be a better option. Due to if you buy a piece of land, then you still got quite a lot of paperwork to do, planning permission, etc., etc., etc. And then you still got to buy the material that's going to cost you an arm and a leg. So, buying a house will be better.
Okay, what do you think about that? Which side of the wall, excuse the pun, are you on? I'll tell you what. I like speaking to people who are experts on subjects, and that's why I decided to go through our black book and bring out a contact. So joining us on the line is Gorete da Silva, who is out at property and real estate company REMAX as a candidate property practitioner. Good morning, Gorete, and thanks for your time.
Good morning, and how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. And I suppose this is a question that somebody might have popped your direction during a braai or a lunch or whatever to say, should I just build one and know that I'm the first occupant? Or should I buy a house that's already built, it's plug and play? And what actually works better? What's your answer to a question like that?
For me, it depends. If you've got a very busy lifestyle, busy work environment and that, rather buy straight off the bat. It's less headaches, less work for you. The transaction is smoother, and you also don't have unexpected costs. If you have time and money on your hand and you know what, you like projects and you like to build your own and have your own, then by all means, go right ahead and build. But for me, it would be buy an existing home.
So from a financing perspective and all those factors involved, is there an option that is more sensible? In other words, from a cost point of view, it's better to go this way or that way, or, do you have a different response to that?
From a cost point of view, buying an existing home is better. It's more manageable. You can work your budget out nicely. You can, create a savings account for maintenance if you're buying a freestanding home or even in a complex or an estate. You can create a savings and put some money in there every month so that you can maintain the property that you're buying. There's no hidden costs where if you're building straight, if you're buying off plan or you're buying a piece of land and you're building, there's always unexpected costs. And the thing is, when you work your initial budget in the beginning, we don't take into account what might happen during the building period. Prices go up. Unexpected rain will delay the project, so it'll increase the costs.
Sure.
You might assume that you need so many square meters of tiles, and then in the end you actually need more. So it becomes very difficult to manage what your actual budget would be if you're building from scratch.
I see. And how do banks view this? Let's say I'm going for, financing. Maybe I don't have 1 or 2 bar lying around in cash. Do banks view it uniquely in each scenario, or do they just see somebody who's looking for financing for a property, whether it's off plan or whether it's just something that already exists?
Unique to the person. The banks will look at everything. They will consider everything. They will consider your current revenue, what sort of expenses you have monthly, what sort of savings you have, and then therefore they will approve your either a bond or a loan to build, depending on you as an individual. So it's very specific, and all banks have different criteria. So people are welcome to try different banks, and then they can see which bank will give them a better rate and a higher loan, or a better bond rate if they're going to be bonding a property. So very unique to the person.
Absolutely. Gorete, if anybody's interested in, picking your brain, because you know what? A lot of people assume that this stuff is given in terms of everybody should know this, but you'd be surprised at how at times we don't quite know what's what as far as, property issues are concerned. So how do we get in touch with you?
Oh, you're more than welcome to reach out to me on my number, which is 062 955 8374. Or you're welcome to you can Google me on Google, and I will pop up under REMAX or private property with all my contact details and email there, and I will gladly help anybody, buyer, seller, landlord, tenant, anybody. Lovely
stuff. Gorete, thanks for your time, and I hope this conversation is going to just, help us with this conversation. But interesting. Gorete da Silva, candidate property practitioner out at REMAX. She's your girl. If you want to know something around property, I'm actually going to give her details to my colleague. What's been your experience? Have you experienced either scenario? And I'm curious to find out what you feel is the better option, right? Building a dream, a vision, or just saying, I'll take that one.
947.
We all have a vision and a bit of a creative edge, where you're thinking, I would want the bathroom there. I would want my main bedroom there. This is how I would lay out my house. This would be the design, the look, and the feel. And, perhaps then that could be the motivator behind why you feel building a house from scratch is what you would want to do if you haven't done it already. But somebody might be like, have you seen the houses in Mid-Street? At whatever estate, maybe it's already built, and you just want to plug and play. You're like, there's nothing about that property that I don't like. I just want to move in like tomorrow. And as you heard with a conversation I had with Gorete, who's a property practitioner a few minutes ago, there are pros and cons to both as to whether you'd want to buy a house that already exists or whether you'd want to build your own dream from scratch.
Good morning, it's Kevin here from Teba Realtors. I'm also a property investor privately. I think buying a vacant property is a better option. I'll tell you why. Because you can either build an investment property. Yes, there is documentation that you need from the council, approved plans. It is a process. But at the end of the day, you're customizing your property according to what you require, what your needs are. And you're paying, your building material and stuff is much cheaper than buying a complete home.
Oh, yeah, because then you hear people talk about finishes and how that's somehow the most, or amongst the most costly items on the list of things that go into building a house from scratch. Your finishes. Huh?
Hey Mo, always a great show. So when I was younger, my dad bought me land. But honestly, I'm not the kind of person. I end up just saying, no, that's just not my thing. I know somebody will be like, what? But I prefer a house that's already built in and I know that it has it. I don't have the patience. I honestly don't have the patience to build something from scratch, and still, I feel like there's a lot of work that goes into it. I would rather just go and find something that's already built. Yeah, I think it just depends on what you can handle. It's just not for me. Yeah, and especially when you're buying land and having to do all these things, making sure, and architecture and all of that, not for me.
Hey, good morning, Mo. Trust you're good. Well, if we have to make it technical, buying a bold house just means immediate occupancy. You can move in quickly, lower risk, so there's no construction delays or cost overruns. And it means easier financing because the bank prefers a completed home. Well, in terms of ideally, from a customization point of view, buying a plot and building a house or designing it to your desire is also another option, because meaning it gives you the option of full customization. You can design your dream home. It can be cheaper long-term if well managed. So meaning that there is no hidden cost or changes or maintenance that you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that. And I think there's interesting arguments on both sides. But, sometimes you buy a house that's already built and there's certain things that weren't sort of, clear in terms of maintenance issues here and there. And then all of a sudden you're like, actually, you know what, I want to redo this section of the house. Then the renovation project starts. Whereas if you just, designed it from the beginning and had a vision in mind, maybe you would have gotten the exact thing you want.
Morning, Mo. Good morning on this cloudy Joburg day. Yeah, it's Big Mike in Kensington, as always. More honestly, if my financial side of things were permitting, honestly, I'm a big fan of building from scratch, keeping a lot of aspects in mind. I mean, you are just putting your personal touch into the house and stuff. And we all know a house is like, it can be easily become a generational thing, And flip, man. I mean, most of these houses, like, one thing I hate, guys, it's like the pool, guys. Why are the pools so small, man? Like, it's like a flipping pond, man. Most of these houses, I'll end up putting my goldfishes up in there, man. But honestly, man, like the pool, I'm a big fan of a proper pool,
Yeah, certainly something to ponder about for those who are in the market, maybe now or later, and all these things to think about. So, yeah, but certainly it should be a dream, I think, to at least experience it once in your life, building your own home from scratch.
947